Welcome to GearCheckGames. This is part 37 of our commentary for The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. Last time, I don't think we got a Triforce piece or a Triforce chart, but we definitely will in this part because, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Savage Labyrinth. And if you don't know what that is, it is a 50-floor dungeon of just battles with enemies. But you only got to do the first 30 floors to get a Triforce chart, so that's nice.
If you don't know what the Savage Labyrinth is, it's the Cave of Ordeals. If you don't know what the Cave of Ordeals is, it's the Pit of 100 Trials. If you don't know what the Pit of 100 Trials is,
Dan.
Okay.
Is this like the Hercules?
We don't want to bring up those vile Paper Mario games that Nintendo seems to want to sweep under the rug for some reason.
Yeah, only the first two though.
Yeah.
And the third one.
Yeah. Let us not forget Super Paper Mario. Actually, now that I think about it, that game had 2 Pits of 100 Trials in it. That might have been a little bit of overkill there. I lost interest in that pretty quickly.
So is this the most?
Because this unfortunately is one of those challenges where I find this to be the case with a lot of gauntlets in video games, where pretty much like the first 2/3 of it are just like brain dead easy. Because I mean, look at these enemies; they can barely even attack you. But then, you know, once you get to the more difficult floors, and you're actually getting challenged and, you know, potentially dying, you're at the point where, like, to get back to that point, if you screw up, you have to redo all of these, like, easy floors again. And to me, the worst example of that I've played was in Pokemon Coliseum, where they had a 100 trainer challenge that was optional, where only, like, the last 20 floors actually had, like, decent trainer loadouts and, like, tough battles. Everything before that was purely filler. Although I guess it did make a decent place to grind if you got behind in levels in that game.
It's because the Tower of 20 Trainers doesn't sound nearly as imposing as the Tower of 100 Trainers.
Hey, they have the Elite Four at the end of every game.
True. Come on, Game Freak, let's make it the Elite 400.
Oh god.
Yeah, if they made it the Elite 400, it would be more like the anime.
It's the Elite Four in the most recent games, because each Elite Four member only has 4 Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Making them extremely easy.
Although you'll be lucky if they have 4 moves.
If they have 4 what?
If they have 4 moves.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
Don't want to turn away the kids.
See, that's what these easy floors do to us. They remind us of how easy Pokemon has become.
This whole Triforce quest has just turned me into a curmudgeonly old man.
I've aged.
In spite of me prefacing this with, "Oh, I like the Triforce quest. It's fun and relaxing." It's like, no. If I don't have, like, dungeons and story to talk about, I just start complaining about unrelated things. Oh boy.
Maybe this playthrough's too long, Joe.
No.
Why did you go to every one of those C platforms?
It's a GCG playthrough is never too long, Trey. Nor is it too short. It's exactly as long as it needs to be.
Joe, why did you feed that fish twice?
Yes,
so much time wasted.
Dan, what part are you watching?
What?
This isn't episode 37, is it?
Wait, we're on 37.
So yeah, thankfully, every 10th floor is a breather room where you just get a bunch of rupees, because, once again, the game is beating you over the head with have enough rupees to pay Tingle. Even though we made the rupee cost way lower in the new version.
They just wanted to make sure that young children would have enough to get once they got there.
Yeah, young children, like 10-year-old Joe.
Gyro aiming.
Yeah. Yeah, this was actually recorded 15 years ago. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, okay?
Wait, 15? Do we even have 1080p 10 years ago?
I mean, you're looking at it.
You got me. Hey, wait,
I just seamlessly spliced it in with my other footage.
These floors are grass on them. These are different.
Yeah, they at least give you a tiny bit of visual variety as you get deeper into the labyrinth. It's not even a labyrinth. The name is a lie. It's just a cylindrical room repeated with different wallpaper.
Yeah, can you imagine if the labyrinth in ancient mythology was just like just a single hallway with a minotaur at the end?
It was just full of Wind Waker enemies.
You say that, but the Trial of the Sword in Breath of the Wild has a couple moments like that. With the Lynels.
Right, but it's not called the Labyrinth of the Sword, though, is it?
It's the Lynel Labyrinth.
It's Lynelville.
That's like the macho version of My Little Pony.
If you get to the end of the labyrinth, then you get to meet the one and only Alex the Lynel.
Fun fact: they already have. I'm playing my Brony card now. Don't at me. Don't hate me.
Are you a Brony, Trey?
I like the show. It's a good show.
The rumor come out.
There's already a bro, like, dude, but he's like a buffalo.
Okay.
In that universe.
Is he buff?
Of course. Hello? He's my favorite character.
Yeah.
You go to the pony meetups and all the you know, there's all the kids with their little pony dolls and stuff, and you come in with your big beefy buffalo plush.
It's my spirit animal, okay?
Does everybody remember episode 4 in season 2 with the wrestler guy? Dude, that reminds me. You want to hear a story of cringe Trey? Back in are you ready?
Is it GCG friendly?
Yeah, it's GCG friendly.
Okay.
GCG. Hey,
yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
One Roman Coke later, I've got a little slur going on. This is how you get the good stories out of Trey. Back in 2011, I did an internship at Disney World, where I basically
was that the Disney intern program?
Yeah, but they don't tell you it's basically corporate slavery. Anyway,
they don't tell you you're actually just doing a minimum wage job at the theme park, and it's not actually like an internship that leads anywhere.
Yeah.
Hey, even
it's a lie.
They sucker you in with, hey, Tony Baxter started as an ice cream scooper. Look at him now.
You too can star in our Disney original movies like Shark Boy and Lava Boy.
Shark Boy and Lava Boy. Truly a classic from my childhood, but go on.
Talking about Buff Buffalo reminded me that in 2011, that was the year of our Lord passing, Mr. Randy Savage.
Ooh.
So like, I was big into this podcast, not to plug another media thing, but this little podcast called Laser Time did a special about the legacy
Randy
of Laser.
Savage's own podcast.
Yeah, posthumously. It's the ghost of Randy Savage. That's a good username for a forum, actually. But I decided, because I was so into that episode, into the legacy of Randy Savage, that every 6 customers at this dumb restaurant in Magic Kingdom, I would talk like Randy Savage, but it didn't go over well, and no one liked it, obviously, because it was extremely cringeworthy. Oh, no. And I just got the worst looks from people.
They were giving you the stink eye because you were pretending to be a dead man.
Yeah, maybe it was the too soon look of shame.
That'll be $11 for that small drink, brother.
That's kind of exactly what happened.
Oh God,
it was bad.
Trey, thank you for sharing your Randy Savage story for this commentary over the Savage Labyrinth.
That's perfect.
I get it now.
Yay.
See, it was all in theme. It's almost like I had it planned.
Bringing it back.
I did not have a plan.
So yeah, this is basically just like a big enemy roll call. I'm pretty sure most, if not all, enemies are accounted for in here. Even these electric chews from Tower of the Gods.
The Savage Labyrinth ends with you fighting Ganon.
Is this
But it doesn't count.
is this kind of like the credits in Donkey Kong? Like this is where you get to re-meet all the enemies you fought before.
With like little subtitles. There's one floor where it's just Cranky Kong in a rocking chair.
Yeah. He's just standing there.
Oh, I could go for that right about now.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these
He's
enemies,
been waiting so long, he turned into a flaming skull.
I mean, most of these enemies have been pretty easy so far.
You know what? They brought back Wrinkly Kong as a ghost in Donkey Kong 64. If they ever make another game in like the original like Rare continuity, they should have like right into the story that Cranky Kong died, but just have him like reincarnate as a flaming skull that like torments DK and Diddy. He doesn't even serve like a useful function, he just berates you.
Guilt Kong.
Guilt Kong.
Guilty conscience.
There it is.
Only a Kong can have that kind of conscience. Oh, it's a
Alright,
wizard.
print it. We're done here.
Can we rename those yo-yo wizards?
Yo-yo
well, I mean,
wizards.
I nor my uncle does not work at Nintendo, so that probably could have been a more grammatically sound sentence. But you know what? We don't do a second take here at GCG.
He speak English good.
Except for when we screw up at the beginning of the episode. Because
Well,
someone
I mean-
forgot to... So someone's tab mysteriously disappeared.
I mean, what?
You've been guessing what's on
we
the
don't
screen.
make any mistakes here.
Yeah. I was rewatching one of our earlier episodes this morning, or rather, I was listening to it at work, and I said, "We're gonna go bust Jaboon out of the cave on Windfall Island."
Ha. That's funny.
Which
Jaboon's
is-
not on
yeah.
Windfall Island.
And
You
I had
fool.
like three passes to find that error, and I never realized it. And now it's on the internet permanently for all to see. And
Yeah,
laugh at.
now you've pointed out to everyone that just glossed over it.
Yeah,
when
go
they
back,
watched the
go back and make fun of it, everybody.
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious.
Point and laugh at his errors.
hmm One thing I didn't know until this dungeon is that if you try to do a spin attack on a Dark Nut, when he has his sword in his hand, of course, he will try to counter you with his own spin attack. So you gotta be careful. So this is the final required floor of the Savage Labyrinth, where we get our Triforce Shard, but there are still 20 floors to go, unfortunately.
The heart piece
Ooh.
isn't worth it, Joe. Don't do it.
I just
Well,
thought of something.
it's not a heart piece in this version though. It's something much more useless.
Is it
I
the
just thought
Hylian
of something
shield?
pure evil. You mentioned that we see almost all of the enemies in the Savage Labyrinth. What if the 50th floor was just floor masters?
Duh!
Duh! You know what, Dan? That's the one enemy that doesn't show up in this dungeon.
Yeah, because if they got you, you'd go back up to the first floor.
Yeah. Oh God.
How do you go deeper?
Wow,
There's
the
no holes.
true horror of that is really sinking in. You know what's even more horrifying? I just got word from our producer, and they said that Outset Island is set to blow up in 5 minutes.
Oh god. You timed
Gotta
it.
go fast!
Oh god.
Squeaks are
Yeah, they're a lot less scary when they sound like mice.
Yes, of course, credit to Jun Senaway for the amazing music. This is Won't Stop, Just Go from Sonic Adventure 2.
Blows up!
Can you
Blows up!
Can you imagine Ganondorf in a trucker hat chasing Link down the corridor?
Just tearing down the highway.
I need this so bad.
Wait,
Those idiots will never find my hidden base
because
inside this
Ganondorf is
forsaken
driving
fortress.
the truck, chasing after Sonic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Someone needs to draw Toon Link in that weird, like, peace sign pose from Sonic Adventure, and vice versa.
Ganondorf plays City Escape.
Yeah.
It's like the Eggman video.
You know, we need Ganondorf. We need a version of Ganondorf that's just a trucker, but still, like, in a time when trucks don't exist yet.
Ganon Adventure 2 battle.
He's just, like, wearing the hat and the vest.
Yes.
Oh man,
He's got,
it's
like,
like
a
that.
big old beard.
You know what? There's a Sylvester Stallone movie where he has to go into an arm wrestling contest. Just replace Ganondorf, and he's a trucker in the movie, and he's on a trip with his son to like reconnect with him after many years. That's Lincoln.
Oh yeah, Ganon Jr. Didn't we introduce him in a previous part, along with the rest of Ganon's immediate family?
What is that movie? Hold on, while this dumb music is going on, I'm gonna go find that.
Thank you, Jun Sonoe, for your dumb music.
Hey, he said it, not me.
Oh, I found it. Okay, 1987, Over the Top, starring Sylvester Stallone.
I could have sworn it was slowing down when the mini-blins were attacking.
I knew I watched that movie for a purpose.
This is where the skull hammer would come in real handy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things are wrecking.
I love how there's just like no beating around the bush dance. Like, yep, he is.
How many floors?
There are 50, I believe. Now, I felt a little bit bad about having to speed up the latter 20 floors because honestly, these are the more interesting enemy encounters. But ultimately, I decided, well, it's not required. So it probably makes more sense. Like, I'll speed it up enough that it goes by faster, but not enough that you can't tell what's happening.
The spin attack?
But, like, these ones where it's, like, Redeads mixed with, like, Stalfos are interesting, because, like, the Stalfos are nerfed when you can run away from them because they're so slow, but the Redeads make it so you can't run away, so the Stalfos can, like, combo you. Or, you know, you could just, like, walk up to a Redead and get grabbed by it. Like a moron.
So Trey just mentioned Sylvester Stallone, and for some reason my mind immediately went to the Dunkachino thing from.
No!
What was it? It was an Adam Sandler movie with Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill.
Yeah, Jack and Jill. And I was just like sitting here doing mental gymnastics to figure out why my mind went to Dunkachino, and then I remembered. Then I realized, okay, Sylvester Stallone made me think of Al Capone, and Al Capone made me think of.
Mental daisy chain is so great.
Pacino.
I love mental gymnastics, don't you?
And Al Pacino went to fucking Dunkachino.
Can you imagine Ganondorf saying Link drew first blood?
Don't worry, guys. I slowed it down for the final floor.
Have you guys not seen Rocky? Or not the Rocky? What's the other one?
Rambo.
Rambo, yeah.
You should have kept the music, but slowed it down accordingly.
Is it 4 Dark Nuts?
We gotta get out of here.
Is this the only place that these fire-breathing wall statues are?
Apart from Forsaken Fortress, possibly.
Are there ones in Forsaken Fortress that breathe fire? I only remember the laser
ones.
ones.
Wow, yeah. I guess they are technically different.
This room is a bad time.
Oof.
Yes, it is.
So I guess the oh god, Savage Labyrinth has a unique enemy after all.
Yep.
It's Randy Savage and his poor Force Ghosts.
No, it's like that episode of Lazy Town where Robbie Rotten orders like 3 clones of himself to cause mischief.
Yes. Do you know what
Are you a real macho man?
Can you imagine? They come out with sunglasses on and tank tops.
He's wearing sunglasses on top of his knight helmet with no eye holes.
Yeah. Each one of them have magnificent beards.
Oh yes. Naturally.
But it's the same 3 guys that also were the Robbie Rotten clones.
So you got like a skinny
Those are the
one,
only
a short
employees
one.
they have.
Yeah. So you fight 3 Dark Nuts. It's hard.
4 Dark
So-
Nuts.
Are all Dark Nuts, do they
Okay.
all have like the same amount of HP and armor?
No. Certain varieties actually have more than others. Yeah, I'm basically just like using up all my fairies here. Like no holds barred. I'm done.
I mean, you can.
The original cut of this part was 35 minutes long. Okay.
That's kind of what the fairies are for if you take them into a place like this, honestly.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, so you can just fight without worrying about having to heal yourself.
Yeah.
Uh,
Plus, I mean, it's hero mode, so like there's no heart drops, so you kind of have
Yeah.
to rely on them.
well, there's no
Yeah.
hearts down here anyway, even not on hero mode.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
No
if
more,
anything, it's easier on hero mode because you're just like already used to it.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's kind of how Twilight Princess hero mode was too. It's like by end game, like you kind of understand what you need to avoid and what you need to prepare before going into a dungeon or a fight.
Yeah. Until you,
That's a
unless you
point,
do
Dan.
the wolf dungeon. God.
Yeah.
Because like.
Yeah, didn't we when you and I played through Twilight Princess HD on hero mode, Dan, and we beat the Cave of Ordeals with like no problem.
Uh-huh.
But then when it came to the wolf cave or whatever,
Uh-huh.
like that took me like 5 attempts
Yeah.
just because of how like I appreciate that they made like difficult areas for the don't worry, we'll talk about what this item does in the next part.
Yeah.
Oh.
After we continue talking about the wolf dungeon
Continue
in the next
complaining about
part.
the yeah.
Yeah.
Where I appreciate that they made more like interesting combat encounters for the wolf form, but at the same time, to me, it just kind of highlighted how limited the wolf's combat options are and how clunky it is.
Yeah.
Because that part is just like needlessly difficult. But
Yeah.
anywho, thank you for joining us for this most savage of episodes. We'll see you next time when we actually talk about the valuable item we just acquired.
Yeah.
Join us then, please. Goodbye.